Hey,
And we're live.
we're live for Seattle's Angels podcast number 28, Return to the Revenge of the Sith Clone Jedi. That was my least favorite Star Wars sequel.
You mean prequel?
Or whatever. I think that's what episode 7 is going to be called. Yeah. But anyways. So we're here again, and this time we've got special guest, the worst writer,
Yay!
who lives up to his name. And apparently nobody else wants to say anything. So,
Bob and other people who were usually going to be here, but they're not because they're awful like that.
right.
And my avatar thing isn't working because screen share isn't working because Google Plus is a butt.
So basically, things are going not so well.
Given the general,
Typical day.
given the general demographic of pony people and the time of year, a lot of people might be busy doing that graduating thing.
Yeah. Well,
Most
I
of these people are in
know-
their 20s.
This is true. Well, most of the people in our, at least the people that be on the podcast, are mostly out of college by this point, except for BP, I guess, and me, even though I should be. But yeah, I guess Red's gone. Pav has mysteriously disappeared for the last 3 weeks, and Plum is potentially going to be here, but it looks like it's not going to happen. And yeah, everything is just falling apart.
Hooray!
Woo!
We've reached the zenith.
God, this is a really sad Zenith.
So we would talk about past review rounds, but Sock nor Kazka are here.
I'm just glad I could bring the quality of this down for everybody to match the.
It's
You're-
magical.
You're the only thing keeping us from just canceling everything. We should just quit right now and leave.
Yeah.
I know the 4 people watching are gonna be so disappointed.
5 actually.
Mine says 4.
Oh, mine says 6.
Oh, I see 6 now. Okay, no. Oh, is it back down to 4? Yeah, it's back. Okay, well, so all 4 people are gonna be really upset, but that's okay. They'll get
Okay.
over it. Anyways,
So-
since we don't have reviews to talk about, I guess we'll just move right the hell on into talking to Mr. Worst Writer here.
Okay then.
So Mr. the Writer. We reviewed your story Switcheroo a while back, which I was a big fan of. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's got some words.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
some sort of a plot, some jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, pretty standard fare.
That's how I felt about it too. That's why we reviewed it.
I think that maybe some of the jokes are good, so that's a plus.
That's true.
God damn it, Alex.
I don't know. I wrote it more than a year ago. Try to. What can I say about
do you
it?
at least remember, like, I mean, did you have like an inspiration for writing it, or is it just like, this would be a funny idea, we do this?
Kinda.
Because I totally get it. That's how I've written the last dozen of my stories.
At the time, what had I been writing before and after that? I wanted to do something small, light, done in one shot.
Sure.
Because I have a whole lot of projects that are supposed to be much bigger than that no one anywhere has ever seen because I've never gotten enough of them done to start putting them out there without having a whole bunch of people get stuck waiting for more. I don't want to put out the first chapter or 2 of some really huge thing when it's going to take me 2 or 3 years to finish it. So
Right, yeah.
I have a lot of work no one's ever seen. And sometimes I like to put some stuff out there that people can actually get a look at and not be
Sure.
disappointed waiting for years and years and years to see the rest of. So I do little short things, and that tends to be what most of my published work is because of the big things not ever getting finished.
That does seem to be a problem that plagues a lot of people, where although a lot of people don't then spend the time to write short one-shots, they do, they start one really long fic and then it sits there for a year.
But no,
And then
Or it goes on incomplete forever.
Yeah.
I wanted to do another small little thing. I had been doing a bit more serious stuff. I wanted to do something more on the fun side again. I thought about Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo because I am always thinking about those two. And I decided it would be interesting if I played around a little bit with something common like insert sitcom misunderstanding here, like someone missed someone's birthday, but they didn't actually.
Yeah.
And then, well, what actually would have happened? Why would that be different? Why would it be weird? Just take a standard convention and play around with it a bit. So I grabbed a body swap because that happens all the time in sitcoms with anything resembling a fantasy or sci-fi bend to them.
Sure.
Because why not? If two people can switch places, that can be all kinds of wacky. And then the story happened.
Yeah, a lot of people that do body swap stuff, it's really terrible. Because I think people seem to have this idea that body swap is like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
That they don't typically keep to the characters they're swapping with.
Right.
Like if Rainbow Dash were to go into Twilight's body, she would kind of still be Twilight, but not Rainbow Dash.
Right, and it's a little bit weird. Yeah, they act like the character they're being, so it kind of makes the whole switching pointless. But I don't know. I thought what I liked about Switchaloo, besides the fact that like you took body swapping, like made it not terrible, which is pretty good. But then on top of that, there was like a lot of little, well, at least one subplot that was really subtle and really interesting because of it. Because it was, you didn't really like point it out that the fact that Twilight pretty much murders Spike and then buries his body, which was a really great subplot.
This one had more to do with Applejack wanting and then Applejack wanting to get with Rainbow Dash, and
Right,
Scootaloo feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was also like
The big innuendo scene in Cherokee Corner, which I loved.
Yeah, even if I do screw around with a little bit of body swap by itself isn't really more than a couple of gags, so there has to be something else to work with here. Some kind of problem that can arise while they're swapped. Well, what do we do with that? Okay, sure, let's throw a wrench into the romance angle, and then, well, what are the rest of the cast doing? We've got to have a little bit of something like a standard convention on a lot of TV shows is to have really two plots moving at once in any given episode.
Yeah.
Got your A plot, your B plot.
Yeah.
So something else besides the swap would be going on. But because the thing wound up as short as it was, we didn't really get much time to play with that. So we just sort of made a lot of implications about what Twilight did or didn't do, and I will neither confirm nor deny her the legality of her actions.
Regardless, it made for a very funny story, despite the perhaps dark tone of it. If you read too much into it, which really, when you're reading a comedy fic, you pretty much shouldn't do, ever.
Wait, can you rephrase that?
What do you mean? What do you mean rephrase that? I'm saying that like I think that when people read comedy fic, sometimes they read too much in. Like they go into it expecting, I don't know what I'm.
Like something deeper than just.
Sure. Yeah.
Silliness.
And then then people like point out, well, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And you're like, I'm sorry, I wasn't. I didn't. The point wasn't to make sense. It was just to be funny.
Like your Ariane fic.
Yes, like the story about a Nazi pony who learns the magic of friendship.
No, yeah, I get that. That's definitely true. There's a lot to be said for casting aside any pretense of meaning and just having a good time. That's what alcohol's for.
Yep.
But there really isn't a lot of room for examination of the human or pony condition, or why are we here, or any sort of philosophical thought process. There's no room for that when you're in a space where you're talking about taking someone's body for a spin until 5. That's
kind of the point of a comedy story. It's not supposed to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's out of place to try to be serious especially if you're using language like that. If you're on such a light level that you're talking about taking a body for a spin, and you already have the characters completely shrugging off the situation that this body swapping is even going on, and just talking as if it's completely normal. Let me take your body for a spin. There's no impact to that. It's a request, like, hey, can you hand me that hammer over there, or can I have a bite of your sandwich?
Right, like all logic kind of just goes out the window, and you're just supposed to.
Everyone outside the loop makes ghastly noises, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah. So when you're in a position like that, if you're having that kind of a dialogue, using words like that, writing a story like that, I think it would be inappropriate to try to derive some kind of statement about humanity or
right, any kind of deeper meaning at all. It's just sort of you're looking in the wrong place, basically.
It's inappropriate when you're trying to be inappropriate to be appropriate.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
I mean, I'm no stranger to putting characters in ridiculous situations that they just accept, despite how ridiculous they are.
Yes, Alex, we know. Your literary love story. Thank God.
No, I was speaking more about my Scootaloo story. Scootaloo dies a bunch.
Yes, well,
because
it works in both cases.
Right, well, in pretty much almost all of my stories that could be applied somewhere. But, like, it's a story about how Scootaloo is pretty much immortal and just dies over and over again. There's no deeper meaning to it. There's no logic behind why she dies all the time and why she comes back. And yet people are always, like, trying to look deeper into it. I don't know if you experienced that with Switchaloo, but
with that in particular, no. In fact, I don't really think any of my pony work has had too many people trying too hard. A few times when people are trying hard, there actually is something. Usually, it's a little bit more obvious, though.
Sure,
I have some kind of very crusty, gnarled wad of timelines, and people are trying to figure out what's at the center of it. Okay, that makes sense. Try to pry that apart. Have fun.
Sure. A gnarled wad of timelines stuffed under your bed.
But no, I have not personally had anyone trying to figure out anything meaningful behind anything ridiculous I've done in the pony world.
Well,
so,
I guess you're lucky then.
Yeah, it always seems to happen to poor little Alex over here.
Or maybe it has happened and I've just not been, selective reading. I see all these comments, I scroll past real quick, and I totally missed that someone was deep in the anguish of not understanding.
Scootaloo's existential crisis as she's in Rainbow Dash's body and finds out Applejack's in love with her, and she doesn't know what to do about it. And it really speaks to me on a human level about
if she had gotten her cutie mark while she was in the wrong body, what would have happened?
I don't know. Let's see.
Does she assume Rainbow Dash's cutie mark? Does she is suddenly now really fast?
when she switches bodies back, does she? Or
Is Rainbow Dash now with the little flightless pony?
What if they switched permanently, right? And does that mean that Scootaloo just gets Rainbow Dash's cutie mark, or does Rainbow Dash have to like re-earn her own cutie mark, and then there's like two of the same one?
Well, to answer a question like that, you need to have a bit more of an understanding of how cutie marks work and what they are than we actually do right now. Like, you have to have some basic rules for time travel to be able to answer what happens if you kill your own grandfather. Do you skew off into an alternate timeline? Do you destroy the universe? What happens? You gotta have some ground rules. And we don't have the ground rules. We don't know how cutie marks work.
This is why we gotta make the ground rules. I think, as far as we see right now, cutie marks are basically just butt stamps that tell you what you do. Except you've already done the thing that you're good at, so that it's like, oh well, I guess that I'm good at this thing that I already knew I was good at.
I do actually have a cutie mark framework that I am using for something else I'm writing, something a little bit more serious, but I do have my own ideas for how it should work, and in that story, should it ever see the light of day, people will be able to grapple with those questions.
And just watch the season 5 tears it apart. If you end up posting before season 5.
I've been sort of quote unquote working, define work, but it has been a document that exists on a computer that is in my possession since the gap between season 2 and 3 at least, if not longer. And so far, every new revelation has either had no impact or has fit in perfectly with all the different things I'm doing about how alicorns work, about how magic works. So far, things are going well. My framework is solid.
I like to cutie marks. I don't know. For me, they're basically just there's something that you get that tells you, hey, you're good at this, you know. Or I guess then there's like the really abstract ones, like Twilight and all them. They get like diamonds or apples or something, and it's not really.
Well, Applejack is great at apples, and don't you dare insinuate otherwise.
Well,
I didn't mean to suggest.
Castletown is finding gems, but she's a fashion designer, so you
get a stamp that this is what you're good at, and Applejack is fantastic at apples.
Yes.
Fluttershy probably makes no.
Fluttershy is really good at butterflies. Don't you dare insinuate otherwise.
Good at butterflies. Rainbow Dash is like it's a rainbow lightning bolt, which I guess means she's fast or something.
This conversation reminds me of a comic where it was season 3 finale where everyone's got their different cutie marks. Yeah. Twilight's going around trying to save them all, but she comes into Applejack, and instead of Applejack making dresses, Applejack is in the field mining gems. And instead of Rarity controlling the weather, she is making light displays with lightning.
Huh.
And Fluttershy is like at making balloon animals, and just a really interesting take. And Twilight is going crazy, having an emotional crisis.
Yeah, Twilight's probably is the most abstract. It's like a star with 5 smaller stars around it. She's really good at astronomy.
She's really good at being the star of the show with 5 co-stars that aren't as important.
Hey-oh.
The end.
That's a good point, actually.
Her name is Sparkle, and her cutie mark is a spark and a spark of friendship. Do you guys see what they did there?
No, I don't. Maybe you can explain it to me in a written letter.
Now, this is a controversial belief here, but I actually think that jokes are always, and I do mean always, 100% of the time, jokes are funnier if you explain them afterward. And
I think you're probably alone in that.
Well, it's all in how you do the explaining. You have to know how to apply yourself properly, but
sarcasm and cynicism?
Oh yes, very important. But so you're reminding me here about these poor jokes that really don't hold up all that well, and explaining them and making it better. See, when you're saying you see what I did there, you're really enhancing the lame joke. You're elevating it with your other statements there. So, Switchaloo, in case anyone didn't catch on, is the title there. Switchaloo. It's sort of almost a. You see, what I did is I took the word switch, which is a word that means that two objects have changed positions, right? And
it doesn't necessarily mean two.
More colloquially, we have the term switcheroo. That's a word that's been in use for many years, but really isn't that common anymore. You pulled the old switcheroo on them. You know, you switch two things when they aren't looking. And scootaloo ends with aloo, and switcheroo ends with uru, and those are similar. So you see what I did there? Switch.
So switcheroo, the Japanese pronunciation of switchaloo?
No, switcheroo is...
Damn, Alex.
It's... You see, it's funny because I made the letters different, and it meant something else.
That is pretty hilarious.
You get a gold star.
He gets like a dozen gold stars.
We get them all off of Alex's
well, you get 6,
chart.
but one's bigger than the rest.
And Alex, you get a mangled one that says you tried.
That's fine with me. That's how I live my life. I tried.
Oh, where did I put that one?
Your gold star?
Oh, no. I'm digging around through documents that I have not published anywhere yet, things that aren't finished. Because there was something ridiculous that was an even better opportunity to explain a terrible joke.
Jesus. Boy, I could go on for like days about all the terrible jokes I've made in all the stupid stories I've written.
Oh, I have.
The stupid stories.
I have a bad habit of naming things in ways that really don't have any meaning to anyone other than me, and that I'll forget if I've been away from it for too long.
Boy, that sounds like me.
I see some of these documents, and I have no idea what they are right now. Like, what is a variety of stupid things that you can't prove you didn't do?
A variety of stupid things you can't explain you never did.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty self-explanatory list.
I'd have to crack that open and start reading to try to figure out what that was supposed to be about.
It sounds...
the fallacy of getting a story idea, writing a couple paragraphs, and then forgetting about it for several months.
I thought you said the fallacy, like from Final Fantasy XIII. And then I was really confused for a second, but...
Well, yeah, if you want to extrapolate on that, because I just blanked out. We were talking about that?
What, the fallacy from Final Fantasy XIII?
Yeah.
They were like gods? You know? Did you ever play Final Fantasy XIII?
I did.
Okay. Did you like it? Because I actually liked it.
I went in with really low expectations because I had grown increasingly distressed by some of the things that Square Enix was doing. I enjoyed Final Fantasy X a lot. I played 11 is an MMO, and 12 is basically still an MMO, just without the actual online component.
Yeah.
I was going downhill fast. I thought I would hate 13. I came in with low expectations, and it surprised me. And I did have a good time. I didn't think it was an amazing game, but it was way better than I thought it was going to be, so I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, awesome. The last Final Fantasy game I played was 10, so I should probably play 13 then.
Yeah, 13 is... It's weird. I mean, I played it when it first came out, so I didn't have all the people like yelling about how terrible it was and people defending how great it was. So I just went in like just expecting to play another Final Fantasy game because I hadn't really played one since 10, and I loved the shit out of 10. And I played 13, and I mean, you know, there's some things that are kind of annoying, like Hope is a fucking stupid bitch, and there's some other annoying stuff. But like overall, I thought like the battle system was really great. The music is fantastic. The story was really confusing but fun.
Yeah,
it was
just
a fun game to play.
Looks to be really good.
I know, right? It's like a weird. It's not like really an RPG anymore though. It's kind of like actiony and stuff. But I don't know.
To me, that's a little bit of a shame. My two favorite genres of video game are both in severe decline, and no one really makes them anymore. And one of them is turn-based RPGs. That's really going downhill. Everyone seems to recoil. Turn-based.
Yeah.
Need to play Wrestle more often.
The other thing although we're getting a bit of a resurgence these days, I really enjoy 2D platformers. You run to the right and you jump over some stuff.
Yeah, they're starting to... Nintendo's kind of like coming back with a bunch of
Nintendo's holding on there, but most other studios have... if you walk into the store today, go to Best Buy or Walmart or Fred Meyer or Target.
Right. They're not going to find
not gonna
2D play. You're only going to find them on like WiiWare and shit like that.
2D platformers aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, but I mean,
they're still alive. I wouldn't say they're not a thing.
Right, but
they're still alive. They're just not as numerous as they used to be.
Well, that and they're not a big release. They're not a big release anymore. Nobody's getting excited for Super Mario 3. You know, there's no because I don't think it'd be very difficult to sell a 2D platformer to people now for $60. They'd be like, no, you just run right and jump. And people are like, I'm gonna pay $60 for that. Where's the multiplayer?
Jump and Shoot Man is the best game ever.
Jump and Shoot Man is the best game ever. I have probably literally, I'd have to go count, but I think I have literally thousands of dollars worth of Mega Man merchandise.
Jesus Christ!
I love Jump and Shoot Man.
I like Jump and Shoot Man 2 and 6. Was it 6 that was like stupid hard, or was it 7? It was like 6 or 7 that like suddenly went way.
It doesn't matter because Mega Man X was the best Mega Man.
It's really good. I like 2 more still, but.
Oh, it's been so long.
I love 3 and 7 and X and X2 and X4 and they're all okay. No, not all. I can't say that with a straight face.
No, especially not if you include the side games.
They are mostly really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, Mega Man is coming in the next Super Smash Bros. Brawl game.
Aware. I'm going to have the same problem I had with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when they added Phoenix Wright as a playable character. It sort of locks me down because I like the character so much. I can't bring myself to select anyone else. He's so bad though.
Well, it's also going to make.
I love Phoenix Wright, but holy shit, he's so bad in that game.
And he occupies a permanent spot in my team every time I play because I can't choose him.
Because everybody gets one free character, then you just have to pick like Virgil or Wesker, and then you're fine.
And with Smash Bros, it's going to be the same thing. I'm not going to be able to pick anyone who's not Mega Man. It's going to really cut down the variety of that game.
I'm only going to play Wii Fit Trainer and Little Mac. Because Wii Fit Trainer, because she is fucking terrifying. She's like super creepy, and I really want to play as her.
The one excuse I can make, the one difference I can go for is I can probably get myself to pick random once in a while.
I'd probably play the Villager because that guy just looks absolutely terrifying.
I really like Little Mac just because his punches look so fucking awesome. He's like a miniature little Dudley. I can't wait to play him.
You have a Wii U?
What? No, I don't have. No, I don't have a Wii U. I don't think any of my friends have a Wii U either. I guess I'm not playing Super Smash Bros. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna buy one.
These file names aren't really helping here.
Friends.
Movie important. What's movie important? Oh, okay. It's a list of movies that
are important.
Yeah, actually, a recurring problem in my life. I don't know why I keep meeting these people. I keep making friends with people who haven't seen huge numbers of culturally necessary movies. Like how do you grow up in our society these days? I mean, if you live in Africa or something, that's different. But if you grew up in the continental United States, how have you not seen, say, Star Wars?
I had a friend who hadn't seen Star Wars.
So I have this list of important movies that are huge backbones of our culture that you need to see these. And I've met more than one person in the last few years who hadn't seen like any of them. We have to
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's on the list.
I think most of them you should see just so you can get the references about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first Iron Man movie?
That's not on the list, but it could be. It's a pretty good one. I don't know. I don't know if that's had a huge impact yet.
Not really. It's like it's got a huge impact on impressionable, stupid people who like action movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also more or less it didn't exactly kickstart the whole superhero movie thing, but it was definitely a big leap forward.
Right.
Encouraging.
Right, because then they made like Thor and
all the other ones.
No, Captain America was shortly after that too.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think it was after like Iron Man 2. I don't know, but
They started with the Incredible Hulk,
which
and then,
was kind of not great.
yeah, and
That
kind
was
of
almost
almost
more.
died there. But I think Iron Man really
Oh
kept
no
it
no.
going.
Right. Yeah. Because Iron Man was actually like, I think the big thing behind Iron Man is it had Robert Downey Jr., who's like very charismatic. So a lot of people were willing to watch the movie.
Oh, okay.
Tony Stark is a great character.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like when you see him, it's basically just Robert Downey Jr. being Robert Downey Jr. And he's a very charismatic person. So
I think that's actually why he was chosen, because Robert Downey Jr. is Robert Downey Jr.
Right, that's what. Yeah, but I mean, like he's very funny and charismatic in every movie he's in. So that like they all have a very likable protagonist whenever he's the head. Like I don't know if anybody's seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but that movie is pretty fucking good. But it's really only as good as it is because Robert Downey Jr. is amazing as the lead.
Any guesses on and then there were -1, what that file might be?
I don't know.
A fanfic idea that's only got a paragraph of work done into it.
No, it's got less than a paragraph. It actually took away a paragraph from one of your other stories.
Well, let's crack it open and find out. What is? And then there were -1. It is less than a paragraph. It's about 20 lines of outline.
Okay.
For not even a fanfic, for a murder mystery novel where it's a spin on the, and then there were and then there were none. The Agatha Christie murder mystery from decades ago.
Yeah.
Where there's people on an island and they start dying off one by one. And spoilers, in case anyone doesn't know it, one of the dead people wasn't really dead. He was the killer all along.
So yours would be that he comes back to life as a ghost.
No.
Okay.
We get to -1 because the numbers of people who are alive or dead start getting screwed up because time travel's involved.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Time loops are always a fun thing.
Somehow you end up with an extra person than you started with.
Well, all I have is a little bit of an outline, and
okay.
I don't know what that. I have all these documents with all these names.
I know the feel.
Most of mine are. I'd say probably more than most people that have a lot of like Google Docs and stuff like that. A lot of mine eventually get written, but usually because they're super short, and I just sit down and write them in like 5 hours, and then toss it up without even proofreading.
And then you hit the feature box, and everyone hates you.
Yeah. Only recently has that started happening a bunch.
Little comedy shots I can usually shoot out pretty darn quick, so I should sit down and finish some more of these. Like this one here, something about Rainbow Dash has a sports team, and they're all injured, so we get the rest of the main 6 filling in, and they're terrible at sports, because duh.
Sports.
And then what happens? There's a couple of pages. Oh, I actually did start this one.
Oh, wow, look at you go. Do you?
I have a horrible attention span, so I'll usually start something, get like 1,000 or so words done into it, and then immediately start something else.
Yeah.
And the document goes for about, I don't know, a couple months. Then I'll open it back up, add a sentence, and then forget about it again.
That happened to me recently, where I was looking through all my Google Docs, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about some of these stories that I started. There was one that was going to be a Rainbow Dash and Spike buddy cop comedy. And it starts off with them driving a car off of a parking garage into like the 15th floor of an office building. And that's as far as I got. There was another story I had about Trixie trying to rob a museum using a bunch of sewer rats. And all of them had really terrible rat pun names.
I hope one of them was called Jerry.
Oh, no, Tom and... No. But there was like... Oh, jeez, I'm trying to think of the names of them. I'm drawing a blank for some reason. There was Rattilla the Hun. Joseph Gerbils. There's a whole bunch of them.
Alex.
I can't remember what they were, but I had I had to come up with like a dozen of them.
I remember one of mine was a story about where Zecora was having nightmares and gets visited by Princess Luna.
Yeah.
But then I more or less stopped writing it because I tried to go with Luna's archaic speech and Zecora's rhyming.
Oh boy.
And it just became one big mess of dialogue that was painful to read.
Yeah. I eventually I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I like the idea that Zecora is really, really bad at rhyming. And she has to work really hard just to rhyme couplets consistently. And she like practices every night just to be good enough to come up with rhyming couplets.
Like she prepares her entire lines of dialogue.
Right. Like weeks ahead. Like she has them just like stashed away in case somebody talks about like poison jokes. She's like, oh, I got this one. I wrote this down last week. And but like all the rest of the zebras are super good at rhyming, and they're Ent-esque in that they only speak in epic length poems, and so they spend like weeks just having a conversation, except for Zecora, who's just really bad at it, and that's my interpretation. I like to basically, if I were to have a verse, which I would never do because that's stupid, but if I were, it would be the idiot verse, where everyone is stupid and they just barely get by. Because that's the way I like to imagine things.
That's generally how the show goes.
Well, sort of, yeah. But I mean, like, I like to imagine that the people in the show that seem smart are only just sort of faking it and manage to seem that way. Like,
we're incredibly lucky.
Yeah. Like, I think I don't know if I mentioned this in the Seattle's Angels chat. I think I did. But my favorite interpretation of Celestia is Chessmaster Celestia, but it's Chessmaster Celestia who's really bad at chess.
So she's like really good at thinking everything through.
No. She like plans really far ahead, but she's really bad at knowing what's going to happen. So she like plans completely blind, pretty much. She's just like, oh, I'm gonna set up all this stuff beforehand, not really knowing if it's gonna work out, and then things just happen to work for her. And she's like, ugh.
Like she prepared everything for what happens if like Princess Luna walks through the door on the right, but instead she walks through the door on the left, and Celestia just breaks.
Sort of, but not really. I just like to imagine that things work out for Celestia despite her being so incompetent. Like,
oh, she's got Twilight Sparkle to do all her stuff for her, so.
Twilight is the only character in my verse that is not an idiot. She's the only one that knows what she's doing, and she just can't believe how stupid everyone else is. That's what I like to imagine.
That reminds me so much of Red Squirrels, who wrote Huggled.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I wish Red would write more comedy because he's so much better than I am.
Red's a great writer.
He is really, really, really good. Of all of us in the in Seattle's Angels that write, which, you know, not counting Plum and all and like C Squared because they don't write.
No one really knows where C Squared went. So.
Right. Of the people that write, I don't want to say that I'm the worst, but I'm probably the least talented. I just get by with making lots of stupid jokes, and that's all I can really do. Because my actual writing isn't bad. It's just not that great. It's pretty mediocre at best. But
you write well. You do write well, but you're like it's all absurd comedy.
Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, if you go read like one of my more serious stories, most of them are just like pretty mediocre. They're okay, and but I mean, I'm okay with that because I can at least do really silly comedy stories, and that's fun.
My standards are all kinds of weird. I think most of the authors in the fandom, even the ones who are generally highly acclaimed, I think are just okay. There are 2 or 3 that I'm blown away by every time I read something. But for the most part, I don't know. My standards are weird. I latch on to things that don't.
No, yeah, I can agree with that. I think there's a few
there's the
people that I
tiniest
think.
nitpicks that people like to do that just drive you up the wall.
Yeah. But
For me, it's forcing it's misspelling a word differently to force pronunciation or an accent. For instance, with Applejack, changing all her I's to AH for ah.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God.
I'm pretty sure I've done that before because I can't decide how accents are supposed to work.
Word order, mostly.
Yeah, that and, I like to, when I'm doing accents, sometimes I do it with, like, changing the way the word is spelled, or just throwing, like, apostrophes in and stuff. But for the most part, I just kind of, like, change the way they speak, Like, I don't have a good one off the top of my head. Rainbow Dash. Basically, like, she doesn't have an accent, but she always, like, whenever I write her, she generally speaks in very short sentences and says, like, awesome and oh man and all that kind of stuff a lot. I don't know if that. It's not really about accents, though.
She's very blunt, straightforward.
Right, yeah. Applejack
Like,
kind of. Right, Applejack always has, like, some name for people. Like, she says Sugar Cube a lot, but, other things, like... I don't know where I'm going with this, never mind.
No, I got plenty of different ways it could work. I guess what I mean is I'm not consistent on accents. I can't decide which way I want to go. So sometimes I end up doing the thing, AH, and sometimes I don't, and I have...
Well,
I
guess as long as you don't change it in the same story.
I don't change mid-story, no. I try to be consistent with it work. I just don't know what I'm doing in the grand scheme of things. And there you go. There's your meaning about the human condition. I don't know what I'm doing in the grand scheme of things.
No one does.
Do on that.
So.
Isn't that really what all stories are about, that none of us know what we're doing?
Well, yeah, we're writing horse words. I mean, that's kind of the point.
That is what Cutie Mark Crusader stories are about, is that no one knows what they're doing.
That, or it's about...
No, Cutie Mark Crusader stories, nobody knows where they're going.
Okay, I can accept that.
More or less, everyone seems to have some sort of idea what they're doing in most of the Cutie Mark Crusader stories I read, because they're trying to get their cutie marks. They have some sort of idea, but it always ends up horribly wrong.
Yeah, like...
And Scooter just somehow ends up dying all the time.
Okay, as an example of something going horribly wrong, I have this thing here. A while back, I wrote another stupid little thing where something really dumb happens about the Tooth Fairy is actually an elder god from the other dimension, and the Cutie Mark Crusaders try to collect a bunch of teeth because they want money for something, and
they're gonna, like, summon the elder god.
Things get weird with that, but it ends before anything too horrible happens. But I was gonna do a sequel to it that hasn't happened yet, and it starts off. It's words. I'm forgetting words. Latin crap starting in the middle, and then you flashback, en media red, or whatever that. There's a word for it.
That is correct. It's actually 3 words, but yes.
Yeah, no. So it starts off with, like, Ponyville's on fire, and there's a literal Armageddon happening. There's flaming skulls falling down from the heavens.
Yep.
And then the Cutie Mark Crusaders are, like, dancing and celebrating on top of the only building in town that's still intact and saying, like, we did it! We saved Christmas! And then it goes back to how they got there, and it has to do with tooth fairies and elder gods and such.
Right. That is pretty damn similar to a story that I wrote just recently, where it starts off, you don't see it in the very beginning when it starts off, but in the present where Twilight's at, Ponyville is burning to the ground, and then it flashes back, and Applejack becomes a princess.
Okay.
Of eyebrows.
Oh. Oh.
And
oh.
Yeah, and so she gets giant eyebrows on her back that sort of look like wings. And when she, like, does her little, like, eyebrow raise thing, it shoots laser beams. And when she does like a little eyebrow waggle, like when you do the I can't do it, but the like the wave with your eyebrows, it causes earthquakes. And when she like kind of I don't know what the word for it is, but when you kind of waggle your eyebrows seductively at someone, that makes whoever she's doing it to fall in love with her. Anyways, and then it flashes forward a bit, and then Ponyville is burning to the ground, and Twilight's just like, fuck it, I'm done, and she just walks away and leaves. And that was another story that included bad chess master Celestia, where like she meets Applejack when she goes into like how in the Magical Mystery Cure thing when Twilight like zaps out and then she reappears and like Celestia's there talking to her and all that stuff, and there's all the memories floating around and shit.
Yeah.
That happens to Applejack, and Celestia's like, well, what the fuck is she here for? I don't know. And she starts like looking around at all the memories, trying to piece it together. And she's like, has something to do with eyebrows, I guess. Sure, she can be a princess of eyebrows. So she makes her a princess without really thinking any of it through. And then it ends up with Ponyville being destroyed and burning to the ground. Because, I should mention that her eyebrows gain sentience and fly off of her back and start blowing everything up.
You're making me want to put more time.
That's the first thing anything does after gain sentience.
Yes. They start shooting laser beams and destroying the city.
The amount of time that I've put into writing over the months has been going down and down and down and down, and it's near zero these days. I'll write for maybe an hour every other week. And you're making me want to get back into this, but I don't have time. I have all these half-written things and all these fun ideas, and other people have fun ideas too, and it is fun. Stupid and ridiculous and great.
Yeah, I just really like writing
real
stories because they're so satisfying. Just write something really short and silly, just for fun, without really thinking about any consequences or anything.
Yeah, like the one where Rainbow Dash goes on the dating game TV show, and then Applejack is a contestant on there, but she has to refrain from using the word apple so that she can't, because she thinks Dash will figure it out, and she has a very hard time not saying apple.
Is that another story idea, or did you write that already?
That one's like half a paragraph.
Tell me there's a question that's like, what's a red fruit? Like, what kind of red...
If we were going out and getting a salad somewhere, what kind of red fruit would you get?
If you were picking a flavor of pie to have, what would it be? But
Ponyville is known for several reasons. What sort of job would you go to work at a farm in Ponyville?
Applejack's character is pretty. When she's not the main character of the episode, Applejack seems to pretty much just be focused on apples and
apple accessories. Yes.
Exactly. I made that exact joke in a different story I wrote, where they go to a bookstore to go to like because they're the author of Daring Do, who at the time we didn't know who it was because this was like way back in season 2. They go to a bookstore because Rainbow Dash wants to get her book signed, and Applejack's going too, and Twilight's like, why the hell are you going? And she's like, I gotta buy books on apples and apples accessories. And she's like, because that's literally all I buy, or all I talk about. And that is pretty much what she's like.
Yeah, that's literary love, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Where Trixie turns herself into a giant book so that Twilight will fall in love with her.
Yeah, I have plenty of ridiculous things floating around. And they're all like basically one night things. If I just sat down and didn't do anything else that night, it would be done before I went to bed.
Definitely, those are the kind of things that you have to pretty much write in one sitting. Because if you don't, then like, if you're like me, you pretty much just don't come back to it.
I just got to clear a night one of these nights. There's so many. And then I also have a lot of more serious things that I do eventually want to get back to, especially the one that's been sitting around for years now.
Well, good thing is summer's coming up, so there should be some free time.
No, I finished college years ago. I'm too old for this joke.
Yeah.
Ancient.
Boy, we're down to one viewer. And it might be me. Oh no, we're back up to 3.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Well,
commenting on the view count is the fastest way to lose viewers.
Oh well.
Well. Anywho.
Everyone in the chat's probably gonna appear for the Cards Against Humanity. No, really.
Yeah. I think people watch it after we post it because they always get 60 or 70 views after we post them. But anyways.
No, I don't know.
But you should just find a day 1 week and just write one story, because.
But
or dedicate yourself to a longer story.
It's not even my only creative time sink. I have other crap to make.
Yeah.
That needs time as well.
Yeah.
Like a while back, I decided to start trying to get into music, and boy, is that an adventure if you have no training whatsoever. I didn't take band in school. I never picked up a clarinet. I got nothing, and that is difficult. Massive amounts of respect for musicians.
Yeah. I used to play guitar when I was in high school. I was really, at my height, I was probably passably decent, and then I just stopped playing, and I just don't care to ever go back again. I just don't care anymore at all.
Yeah, I haven't even actually learned to play anything yet. Everything I've done has been fake, synthesized on a computer. Let me make this.
Right.
Well, that's to be fair. A lot of music nowadays is done by that. So.
I suppose.
Right, because no one has any talent anymore.
Nope.
Not here.
Oh
man.
Well, hey, I played a song on a recorder in the 3rd grade. So.
Oh man.
Was it Hot Cross Buns?
Baby.
My most successful piece of music has got 95 views.
Holy shit! Look at you go.
I am popular.
Boy, that is something.
No.
Justin Bieber also started out on YouTube. You're doing great.
Yeah, you're well on your way to being the J-Beebs.
Of synthesizer music.
Yes. Which is pretty much the same thing, honestly.
I'm confused here. Are we trying to say that Justin Bieber is or is not a synthetic human being?
I don't think it really matters much. I don't think it matters much.
I think it does, because if
biologically, probably human beings, but his career is pretty synthetic.
Yes, that is.
Okay, but we think he's real, organic, homegrown kind of.
Yeah, he's Bieber Commander.
Like some set of people decided to, or didn't. It could have been an accident, but had a child, and it was him, and he grew up and exists now as a semi-adult.
Semi-adult. He's like 20, isn't he?
I don't know.
No, I think he's probably like 18 or something, because I know he can't be.
I don't know. I don't keep up with the kids' music these days.
I do. I check every day to see how old he is, but I forgot to check today, so I don't remember. That
would make a good single-serving website, like the really simple little isitchristmas.com. That's all it does. It tells you.
Are you?
There's dozens of sites like that.
AKA, do you have a calendar.com?
There's dozens and dozens of sites like isitchristmas.com or thebestdinosaur.com, and they give you one thing.
Those kind of websites are the best.
No, they're not
Someone
the
should make
best.
one for Justin Bieber's age. How old is the Biebs? And the one thing on the page is a number.
Yeah. Wow, what a great idea. You should buy that and then put just ads everywhere.
No. These pages don't have ads. They have one thing. Like isitchristmas.com, just right now, if I go, it has the word no, black text, white background, nothing else. That's the entire page. It's amazing.
But somebody has to pay for that. Somebody's paying for the hosting.
Someone is paying to host that, and there's no advertising.
Somebody's paying for a joke. Somebody is paying monthly fees for a joke.
Well, hey, everyone's got.
Alex, there is Scootaloo.com, and it's just a picture of Scootaloo.
Yes, it's just pictures, and then there's like SweetieBelle.com, I think, right? Did we discover that?
Perfect. Yes, exactly. Single-serving sites where it's just this one thing, and that is all you get, but that's all you need.
There's also CocoPomo.org.
Please tell me that there's a
Funny.
website that when you go to it, it's just somebody giving you the middle finger.
Probably. I don't know where that would be.
I bet fuckyou.org is I'm going to guess what it's called.
I'm going to guess that
No.
that was not what that was.
It did find me a whole bunch of hot singles, though.
Oh, man.
That's fuckyou.com. And Indian personals, European. There we go. There's a fuckyou.com.
There is a themiddlefinger.com.
Oh, that works. Okay. Is it a single serving site?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Because, I mean, neither is fuckyou.com. There's famous fuck you videos, political fuck you rant, fuck you pictures, fuck you news, crap you should buy, the fucking meat, religious fuck you. It appears to be a blog just telling people that they should go fuck themselves. Is my understanding.
Cats who look like Ron Swanson.tumblr.com.
That Ron Swanson?
Cats that look like Ron Swanson.
There was a cat that looked like Hitler, and that was pretty great.
Yeah, well.
Do you remember Chairman Meow? Did you ever see that? No, you never saw Chairman Meow? It was cats that looked like Mao.
Well, why?
Because,
internet.
Because it almost works, Chairman Meow.
Yep. Bad puns.
Really, a lot of questions about why something can be answered with, internet.
Yeah.
Or also because puns. That's also a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I think that explains a lot of the pony fandom actually, because puns.
Well, I mean, the way they name things is all just puns. And most
people needlessly making puns of things that don't need puns to be made of.
Right. Yeah. Follow great leader Chairman Meow.
Yeah.
Viva Chairman, which doesn't even work because that's Che Guevara, but as Chairman Meow. I think my favorite one is this. It's the cat in Chairman Meow's like hat they always wore in the posters. I don't know. It's really funny. Is my point.
Okay. Alex, we can only see the top of your head.
Oh, probably because I moved. Oh, and then there's a picture of the actual Chairman Mao, but with cat ears. So.
Oh, what a twist! Didn't see that coming.
So thanks, Internet.
Yeah.
Boy, are we really treading water or what?
Now I'm trying to come up with some kind of political figure.
Or an idea about cats and ponies?
No, a political figure, like how you can say Chairman Mao, but Chairman Meow because cats.
We
spent ponies.
We spent a good half an hour coming up with communist pony names. Remember that, Roz? I think you were there for that.
There was a
lot of them. I don't remember any of them right now, though.
There was Husif Stalin.
Shit, I wish we could remember those because they were pretty funny.
Well, if it's already been done, I care a little less. But okay, never mind. That's a bad criteria for things because everything's already been done because the internet.
Yeah.
If it exists, there's porn of it.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah. Distressingly true.
That's a good way to phrase it. It is distressingly true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to tell people what they should or shouldn't like, but some of that stuff.
You shouldn't like it. Yeah.
Moving on. We got a question.
Oh, we have a question?
That doesn't.
Wish list for season 5.
Okay.
I want it to be. I don't want to see any of the old characters. except for Twilight. And I'll tell you why. Because we're going to move on to a completely different area, right? Moving away from all the fucking Ponyville and stuff. Don't care anymore. Now it's
she's now got her castle in Ponyville.
Exactly.
Effectively situating her in Ponyville forever.
But instead of staying at the castle and doing castle shit, Twilight decides to go on an adventure. Bilbo Baggins style. Even though Sparkles don't go on adventures. But she's going to need a traveling companion, right? And that companion is going to be Trixie. Every episode about the show, it's just going to be Twilight and Trixie going on adventures around Equestria.
I'm going to say nothing about the merits of that idea, but I am going to tell you that it's not likely. It may be.
I don't know. I feel like they've been hinting
Alex
the last.
The story already.
I haven't, but I should.
Well, just because someone's written a story about something doesn't mean it happens. I mean, I've written plenty of stuff that.
What are you talking about? Everyone knows that in Season 5, Episode 3, the Kingdom of Crusaders raised the Tooth Fairy, discovered Demonic Underworld.
I had an idea for an Around the World in 80 Days-esque story that involved Twilight and like Applejack and Rainbow Dash trying to race another team around the world. Both the teams were going to be sponsored by Celestia and Luna, each one betting on the other team to win. And then they would both like cheat and try to like give their team advantages and stuff. And it was just going to be like this big long romp. I don't know why, but that's vaguely adventurous.
We need a Celestia episode. We just need
really
a Celestia
do.
episode.
But
you already got your Trixie episodes, Alex. We need a Celestia episode.
Yeah, I could do with never having another. As much as I like Trixie, I could do with never having another Trixie episode. We don't need it.
Well, one thing that they could answer that, I mean, I don't know that I'd say it belongs on a wish list, but it's relatively likely compared to some of the other things people want. I mean, some people want, like canon relationships between main 6 characters, and that's probably not going to happen. So one thing people would like to see that I think could be done. How about Scootaloo's parents?
I feel
we
like
saw their silhouettes in a picture.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Was that during the Hearts of Strong Torsion?
Right. I almost never want to see them just so the joke about her being an orphan never goes away. But at the same time, I never want to see that joke again.
Well, you used that joke yourself several times.
I know, but I subverted the joke by having her have parents, except she just pretends to be an orphan.
I've got a couple of I don't know what word to use here because they're not funny. Okay, terrible. I've got a couple of terrible ideas
all right.
For things that I've put down before. Like, I had one where she wasn't an orphan, but in this story she becomes one. And the most fun is the wrong word here. People are going to think I'm a psychopath. But some of the most fun treatments for that involve it being Rainbow Dash's fault that she becomes an orphan.
Christ.
Write it.
Like, Scootaloo and her parents are in the audience at a Wonderbolts show.
Oh my god!
Right as Dash has finally made it to the Wonderbolts, but you can already guess.
I can see where you're going, but please tell me that Rainbow Dash also breaks her wings while doing this.
No.
No, damn it! What's the point then?
No, the
point is
it looks like Dash is gonna screw up or whatever, and oh no, she has all this panic about my first day on the Wonderbolts and I've screwed up and I'm never gonna do this and I'm probably gonna break my wings. And then no, you're fine. You broke your fall on Scootaloo's parents.
Oh my god!
Does Scootaloo break her wings? And Rainbow Dash promised to take her out the trainer of the fly the day after.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I haven't written it.
She gets wing cancer and has to have them removed.
One thing that I have written a fair bit of, like I think I've got 10, 20 pages of, is something involving Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash and terrible things happening and As an adult, Scootaloo has still not really done much. No one sees her flying. It takes place in a future Ponyville, and it follows the daughter of Apple Bloom and the son of Sweetie Belle, and Rainbow Dash disappeared years ago, and Scootaloo has become a hermit and lives in her invention cottage making things. And yeah, whatever. Not enough people are going to watch this, and I'm probably never going to finish it anyway. I'll just spoil the big twist at the end there. Years and years ago, Rainbow Dash died saving Scootaloo's life, and it was because Scootaloo was screwing up trying to learn to fly. And so since then, she's been very, very reluctant to use her wings because the last time she tried, her idol died, and she blames herself. And in her little cottage, she's been working to try to bring Rainbow Dash back to life in sort of a Frankenstein-style setup. And then in the decade or two since, the town has developed a few rumors and ghostly noises and weird things going on. It's actually things that somewhat resemble Rainbow Dash shambling around in tunnels beneath the town.
Oh my god! The fuck?
I've got a good bit of this written, but it's not done.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, and then when Apple Bloom's daughter and Sweetie Belle's son end up bumping into this thing, it sort of does have some of Rainbow Dash's mind in place, and
oh my god,
it kind of wants to die.
Oh my god! Because I thought we were doing a comedy story. This is
no,
Alex, no.
Oh my god,
this is great.
That's why I was saying at the beginning here, like when I started talking about
the fun
Rainbow Dash kills Scootaloo's parents, and I was talking about fun, and no, that'd make me sound like a psychopath. Fun's the wrong word.
But you're like laughing while you tell this story.
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm a little scared now.
Oh, I've got so much fun stuff. For certain definitions of fun.
Well, that's that is something.
That one might eventually get written. Who knows?
Speaking of Scootaloo's parents dying, though, I like the idea that Scootaloo kills her own parents while doing something. Because I was thinking of the South Park episode where Butters kills everyone by tap dancing.
Yeah, okay. So Scootaloo does something completely mundane, and it kills her parents.
And it kills, yes, and then she gets roped into doing it again, and then, I don't know, kills everyone else or something.
So, okay, she wants to, like, put some peanut butter on some bread, and somehow everyone dies.
Right, but then
the fate of the world relies on her successfully completing that task.
Like, she picks up the knife, she puts it into the jar of peanut butter, she, like, reaches forward to plunge the knife down to get the peanut butter at the bottom because it's not a full jar, and she slips, and the jar tips over and rolls off the counter and lands on a cat that happened to be nearby, and the cat lets out a meow and goes off running and knocks over a candle, which lights the house on fire, and the flames heat up the jar of peanut butter enough that the molten peanut butter and jar combination builds up a bunch of pressure because it made a tight... Yeah, okay, it landed face down. It landed lidless top down against the floor and ended up forming an airtight seal against the floor somehow. And the pressure from the gas inside is building up enough that it eventually shoots off like a rocket with the knife still inside.
Okay.
And it comes crashing in through, like, Canterlot Castle, and the jar lands down in the center of the floor of the royal audience chamber or whatever, and it like does a rattling landing kind of thing. And as it comes to rest, the knife is still spinning around inside. Someone goes forward to investigate, and then because physics can be bent for the sake of plot now and then, the knife comes shooting out into that person's eye, or that pony's eye, as they're investigating. And
yeah.
That pony should be Princess Luna.
Sure, Princess Luna gets a peanut butter knife in the eye.
Right. Well, no. Then she becomes Princess Pirate Lestia.
Wait, when did Luna losing an eye becomes Celestia?
Oh no! I thought it was Celestia who was bending down to pick up the knife.
Okay, hang on. No. We got new ideas here now. How can we? What stupid ideas?
See where I was going to go from here is that after losing her eye in this accident, if you can call it an accident,
Scootaloo. Scootaloo is exiled for her treasonous crimes.
No. It takes a little while, all right? So Celestia becomes a pirate because she loses an eye and she figures, what else am I going to do?
Sure.
So she becomes a pirate and she leads a crew around. And she ends up developing a reputation for being really ruthless. And this is like 15 years in the future. By this point, she's like old and I know she's already like well over 1,000 years old, but she's even more old and grizzled now.
Okay.
And she's got like a beard and shit, because that's what happens when you become a pirate. She's got a peg leg that she cut off her own leg just so she could have a peg leg.
That's pretty hardcore.
And she comes upon wherever Scootaloo is living in the future and raids the town and kills all of her family, but leaves Scootaloo alive and takes her prisoner on her pirate ship. So her peanut butter incident 15 years in the past ended up killing everyone. I lost it there at the end. Damn it.
Well, okay. When she gets there to the village, she sees the lid to the peanut butter jar, which never left the house.
Yeah.
The lid was I don't know.
The house was just completely intact, kept in the exact same condition it was.
Sure.
From when the fire first started.
So the lid was kept all those years, and when she sees the lid, her crazy immortal brain remembers the exact groove of the jar and sees that lid would fit perfectly on the jar that knife came from. So she knows. She's like, it was one of you.
Right. Yeah.
And
so she rains down.
So she rapes and pillages the entire village.
Yes. Exactly.
No, I was going to go in a completely different direction when someone said Luna and then someone else said Celestia. How about Luna and Celestia are actually the same pony? And anytime they've been in the same place at the same time, you have some kind of weird explanation for that. Like one of them is a hologram, or
I was going to say it was somebody holding up a tissue paper to a candlelight and making a silhouette of Luna.
Sure, but that's a fun idea. Celestia and Luna are secretly the same pony.
Yes. She banished herself to the moon for 1,000 years.
Yeah, she's got problems.
That was just because she got...
Right, she wanted the break of being Luna.
Even Celestia doesn't like being herself, so...
Actually, that goes back to another idea I did have that I think I did start, but this was years ago and I don't have it anymore. If I did start it, I threw it away. I had a thing with crazy time travel shenanigans where it turns out that Celestia is actually Twilight centuries in the future.
Yeah, I think
she's come back to mentor herself to...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen that idea.
I think
before.
I've read that before, actually.
Yeah.
Did I do that? No, I don't think I did. So someone else must have.
Oh no, I remember the story. I think somebody's done that idea, but the one I'm thinking of off the top of my head is a story where Twilight goes back in time, and she ends up becoming Clover the Clever.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Right, and giving birth to Celestia, that story was really stupid. I was not a fan of that. But yeah, then she ends up giving birth to Celestia and Luna. And she calls them really stupid names.
Did she call them Lulu? And
yes, and Selly, or whatever. I fucking hate those names so much. Just... the nicknames are the worst. I just cannot stand them.
Kind of like how Rarity always calling everyone darling when she hardly uses the word.
She says it like 3 times in the whole fucking show. Yeah, well, I just avoid her saying darling ever. She doesn't fucking say darling. But.
And Refaf.
Yeah. But
what's this?
I had an idea for a story once where Trixie falls in love with a predator from the movie Predator.
Go on.
So,
hang on, I think this will work better if I explain the joke here first, because I don't think it went through. You were supposed to hear an unzipping sound before I said go on.
Okay.
But I don't think the microphone was close enough.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
I assume
yeah.
Predator is one of the movies on your list.
Predator is definitely on the list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Predator. Why am I trying to remember? What was the...
Trixie falls in love with the Predator.
Right, no. I was trying to think of the famous line from Predator. It was "Get to the chopper." Get to the chopper. But anyways, right. So it starts off with Trixie in Manhattan, and she's trying to catch a bus out of the town, but she doesn't have any money, and she tries to like talk her way into getting on for free, but the bus driver just kicks her off, and so she's like, "Fuck it, I don't even need this bus anyways. Fuck you, I'm gonna walk out of here." And then she spots something, a flash down the alleyway, so she goes to investigate, and she sees a predator from Predator, who, for no reason, mysteriously transported into the middle of Manhattan in a dark alleyway behind a trash can or a dumpster. And so Trixie starts trying to talk to him, and the joke was that he was never going to speak or say anything, but just sort of grunt and growl the whole time. And Trixie was going to be very what's the word?
Naive?
Sort of, yes. But she she starts trying to talk to him. She talks to him as if he's talking to her, but he's just grunting and growling. But she's sort of asks what his name is. And she's like, "That's a dumb name," and eventually she starts to walk away, and he follows her. He's like, "What are you doing? You can't follow me." And she eventually was gonna go off, and they were gonna walk through the town. The predator was just gonna kill everyone, just everyone they meet, just murders tons
except
and tons
for
of
Trixie.
people. Right, except for Trixie. And throughout all this, Trixie inexplicably starts to fall in love with him, but doesn't want to admit it, and has no real reason to, but just does. And eventually, I don't remember where the hell this was. A year ago, I came up with this idea, but it was based off the idea that it'd be funny if Trixie fell in love with the Predator. And then I tried to write a story based off it and realized that's a funny scene, not a funny story. So.
Well, it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be, Trixie is a predator. That would be a little harder to get people to buy.
Oh well, I'm not trying to get anybody to buy anything about anything that I write, pretty much ever.
No, not buy physically, but I mean
No, I know. I right. No, that's what I'm saying.
You don't want people to
believe that? No.
Oh, come on, it's so much.
I wrote a story.
Anything else?
I wrote a story about
Hero Winona, the dog, committing suicide.
Seppuku.
Hang on. Let me get to his list of stories here and see which ones I've read, because I know I've read a few.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a story about Winona committing seppuku and becoming, I guess, a god. And she ascends into the stars and just fucking flies away. I'm not expecting anyone to buy into that as being a believable story. I just want it to be funny.
You're the best at making those sense, Alex.
I do what I can. There was shit. I had some other ideas. Let me go. Maybe I should open up my Google Docs real quick and see if there's any ideas just floating around that I had been meaning to write. We were talking about it in the Seattle's Angels chat yesterday about Rainbow Dash and how all she's ever wanted to do was just dance. She just wants to be an interpretive dancer. And I came up with the title Dances with Rainbows. So that I've started writing, and we'll probably post this weekend, hopefully. It's going to be really stupid.
I'm glad to know that our insane ramblings are motivating you to write.
Yeah. The last story I just posted, the one about Celestia with all of her crazy laws, that one was I came up with while talking to Sock about we were talking about Celestia or whatever, and I was like, I like to imagine that in the first like 50 to 100 years after she banishes Luna, she just goes completely insane and just starts like doing really crazy shit until she like sorts herself out. And then we started like coming up with jokes about what laws she would make, and then I wrote a story based off that.
See.
I do need to write more, but I need to do a lot of things a lot more. I'm behind on every leisure activity. I'm behind on my writing. I'm behind on my music. I'm behind on my reading. I'm behind on my movies, my TV.
Yeah.
I'm behind on everything.
I'm working really hard to just be barely where I'm at right now. Writing stories, and I have to do blogs about history and shit all the time.
Don't stay in school, kids. You'll graduate and get a degree and get a job that'll pay you well, but then you won't have any time for anything.
Yeah. So, which of my stories did you read?
Well, I was going back and because it's sorted by date by default here on mine.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm noticing a pattern here, actually, not just on yours. I don't think I read anything in like 6 months.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, that happens. I haven't read anything just for the hell of it in
And ever. I've kind of more or less forced you to read.
I did start reading Whip and Wing, but that was again, because you told me to. I probably wouldn't have.
And I highly doubt you moved beyond the first chapter.
I have not yet. I plan on reading it while I'm at work.
Because that's the best thing to do when you're at work, is to not do work.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Depends on the type of work. There are some jobs where you can definitely do some reading.
I found one of my stupid story ideas. I've got like a page written of Maud. She is Canterlot's stone statues in Canterlot. She makes those, but she is essentially Medusa.
Jesus Christ!
And that's the title of the story. She just goes around freezing ponies to stone, and she's doing her best to keep Pinkie Pie from discovering it, because she needs to do it. She needs to get one done by a certain deadline, and it just happens to be she's in Ponyville at that time.
I was going to go a completely opposite direction when you said Maud and statues. I was thinking more of the I don't know what the first example is, so I can't give you like the example that comes up for me is not the example that would come up for anyone else. Whatever. The thing where a person pretends to be a statue a bunch and then messes with people when they aren't looking. So Maud pretending.
Well, Maud kind of does that already. So.
Well, right. I thought you were gonna go like she's like Michelangelo. And then you said Medusa, and I immediately thought that was a way better idea.
Someone's walking down through some hallway in Canterlot Castle. They pass all these statues. They pass by Maud, pretending to be a statue, and that's how Maud gets her kicks. That's how she expresses her fun, her pie-ness, her. Pinkie is just out there. Maud just is a huge troll and screws with every other pony that crosses her path.
There's this comic that shows like Maud and Pinkie Pie just laughing, and then Maud straight face and goes rocks, and they break out into laughter again.
I was imagining that if Maud was going to be hiding, pretending to be a statue, right, that she'd be sitting in the hallway and waiting for somebody to pass, and when they do, she just kind of like steps out and is like, boo. And they're like, oh, I didn't see it there. And she's like, I thought that was pretty. And then she's like, oh, I scared you, didn't I? And they're like, no, not really. And she's like, that was a pretty good joke, huh? And then she just goes back to standing there. And like that's her having a laugh.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I could work with that. No.
Go away, you're gonna ruin the surprise. And she just stands there again. And waits for somebody else to come down and scares people. Except they're not really scared. They're just kind of like, oh, it's that weird girl again.
So let's see then. How about that there Equestria Girls 2?
Oh my god.
Everybody excited?
As long as it has at least one catchy song.
No, I kind of actually liked the first movie because it was stupid and silly. Like I just got a kick out of it being stupid.
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did not want another one ever.
I sort of hope the second one doesn't have any catchy songs, because if they are catchy, they'll get stuck in parts of my head. I don't want them to get stuck, and I won't be able to get them out. Catchy music is.
I was stuck on helping Twilight win the crown for fucking weeks.
I'm really susceptible to catchy music. I have problems getting it out of me.
Yeah, I've had this song for the past 2 weeks stuck in my head called "Take the Skinheads Bowling." It's literally about taking skinheads bowling.
Like, are you using their bald heads as bowling balls?
No, it's just taking them bowling.
You're just having a fun Friday night out.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then.
That's pretty much all it is, and it's weird, and the music video is weird, and so catchy.
I can only imagine. After Plum weeks ago showed us actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf, that shit was stuck in my head for like a week straight. Actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Well, yeah, man.
Stab him in the kidney.
Oh yeah, I need to write all these things, and I need to music all these things, and I need to play all these games, and
yeah, games. So many Steam sales, impulse buying.
Well, I haven't played a new game in forever. I've just like recently been replaying Mass Effect, and before that I was playing what was it? I don't know. I've just been replaying games basically. I haven't played a new one in forever.
Yeah, I bought a PS4 and I've hardly played it because of so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a fun story, because it's slightly relevant. Seattle, I suppose.
Sure.
No, we don't actually live in this city.
I figured, but PS4 in Seattle, and I got a story here. I bought a PS4 on launch day, not because I needed it, but
so because you can use it as a paperweight?
Because I was bored, and I am really bad at waiting for things that I know. I knew I was going to buy one eventually. It was not a question. I buy all the video games eventually. Not all of them, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
So if I just buy it now, I'll have it now, and I won't have to buy it later. And I made all sorts of dumb rationalizations, and I went out and I bought one on launch day. And it didn't work. I got a dead unit out of the box. Fantastic.
Oh well, it's not like you had. It's not like there was no games you could play anyway. So
that's back to Sony.
I decided to call Sony. I was going to see what we could do about this. You know, do I send it back? What do we do here? And I couldn't get through because on that day there was enough traffic coming in from. I guess the PSN was saturated and people couldn't log in or something.
Mm-hmm. Well,
apparently,
also I think it was like
everyone
2% of PS4s were dead on arrival for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But so everyone was calling in for one reason or another, and I literally couldn't get through. One time I left my phone on hold for like 3 hours, didn't get through. I couldn't get through to deal with my busted PS4. And I'm not, whatever, people aren't going to track me down. I live in the Portland area. Seattle's not that far away, and you know what they have in Seattle? A Sony store. And do you know what Sony stores have? Excess PS4 stock explicitly for the purpose of returning and giving for broken units. Other stores are sold out. You can't do it. They don't have any units to exchange. But the Sony stores set aside a pile of them for this purpose.
Right.
So I took a road trip up to Seattle to get a working PS4.
To get your PS4.
And I did. And we plugged it in in the store to verify that the new one worked, and it did. And I came home, and I connected it, and it worked for about a night, and it died the next day.
Please tell me you then went back to Seattle again and got like 3 PS4s for free.
Please tell me you actually do have a working PS4 now.
At present, I do have a working PS4.
Okay.
Until tomorrow when it breaks again.
And actually, now that I've told that story, if anyone happens to be listening to this who knows me, that will be identifying information, but they will already know me. They'll just now know that I write things.
Oh no.
Oh, implying people actually watch the podcast.
Right.
That's a fairly unique story, reasonably identifying information.
Sure. But it's not like we have a really wide audience, though, so the chances of there being a crossover pretty freaking slim.
Yeah. And also, you should totally give me your PSN ID sometime. And when you have time.
You should just give me your PS4.
How about I give you the first one?
Okay, I'll take that.
It doesn't work.
That's fine. I'll take it.
A receipt for it.
I'm gonna. Well, yeah, but give me the receipt too, so that way I can exchange it for a new one.
All right. And we're over the 90-minute mark.
Oh boy.
We survived.
Somehow.
I don't think we did. I think this is purgatory, and.
Well,
we
if the other people
I think we need to go back to the
we're going to be here, then we might not be dead. So,
we have to go back. We have to go back to the island. We should never have left.
I would prefer if we went back to the future.
That works too.
I don't know. I don't know. There were supposed to be like hoverboards by now, but
No. The hoverboards were in 2015. They still have some time. Not much, but they still have some time.
About 6 months.
And flying cars.
Right.
And
give time.
Jesus. Because in like 1985, 2015 was like, whoa, it's the future. It like,
okay. Make like Neil, unless like Neil deGrasse Tyson becomes president. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, hey, no,
there was a game.
Know. What's his name? Elon Musk, the guy who is currently funding the Tesla cars and the SpaceX.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's also doing the space thing.
The other day, he just released all his patents into the wild and said, "Here,
right? Yeah, so people
I won't sue any of you if you use all this."
Which is awesome.
Maybe there'll be a sudden rapid boom in the technology sector, and we'll get floating shit in like 4 months. That's not gonna happen. That's not how science works.
Right? That'll probably be at least 6 or 7 months.
Everything is made of. We return the air into aerogel.
So we swim around in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
But then how does
You don't ask questions.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No.
I'm pretty sure that I do ask questions, and that's why I need to be silenced.
Right.
Well,
this is democracy. It means you're not allowed to ask questions.
But yeah, the chat's wrapping up. And
yeah, okay.
Goodbye.
Thanks
for coming on, Worst.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for spending the free time you could have used writing here.
Talking about whatever.
Bunch of random nonsense. Yeah. Actually, no. Today has been a little bit more free than I thought it was going to be. I don't have anything to worry about for the next. They'll be here around like 9:30 or 10, I think. So I still got whatever. It's all good.
You got tons of time. Well, if only this were like a movie, we could all go out doing a breakfast club right at the end while it plays "Don't You Forget About Me." But unfortunately, all we can do